Hey, what is up everybody, Blades for here, and today I have for you guys another video, Persona 5X. Inside today's video guys, we're going to be starting back up the Compendium series, seeing that we finally hit level 70 and the man, the myth, the legend itself here, Dionysus is the best Persona to go ahead and get started with. Now, we haven't done the Compendium series in quite some time, mainly because back then, it was about a year ago, where the translator for TW broke, and as you can see right down there, it literally says a whole year ago for Norn. And dude, it was an insane time. I have a lot of things planned for this series, and we're going to be going through every last one of the personas. For any of you guys who are new to this whole series, it's pretty much me breaking down every persona, their at least absolute usefulness inside of their passives, what moves are really good to put on them, and pretty much just an optimized way of playing them. This is something that I'm going to be doing long term, and after this video, I'm going to try and get them even edited by my editor named Chills and see if we can make this a really nice looking series. So let me know down in the comment section if you want to at least see more of this here, and I'll try to bring as many personas as possible so you can utilize them perfectly. But with that all out of the way, let's go ahead and give it a look. So with the Compendium series here, we're going to be starting off with the man Dionysus, or at least the persona Dionysus here, which is one of the few personas that I can say is absolutely insane in this game. Once you hit level 70, this is probably going to be the first persona that you really want to utilize, and it's mainly because it's so busted. It is a very helpful persona that quite literally can do anything and everything that you want it to at the drop of a hat. It's not going to really take you much to really do anything with this persona, and it's mainly because it helps all around. Anything offensive, anything that you really want to just deal some nice at least crit damage with, or any type of critting, it will have you down pat. You're not going to have any problems whatsoever. So to give it a start here, we're going to take a look at least the passives, and the passive is the most important thing when it does come down to this persona. As I did say, this persona is very crit rate based, or critical rate based in general, and it is very nice to do so. All you have to know is it's mainly known for its signature skill and its instinct ability. So with the actual passive here, as you can see, it actually increases its crit rate by 14.8%, and after using a skill on the ally, it increases its main target's crit damage by 22%. Now this is just a regular instinct. It doesn't have any dupes or anything of that nature here, but when you end up duping this persona out, it becomes an absolute monster. That percentage ends up going to a whopping 14.8% for the crit rate regularly, but the crit damage goes up to a whopping 30%, which is a huge 8% gap. But as I did say, just the passive isn't the only thing that you're looking for. You're mainly going to be looking for this signature skill, which is going to be Revolution. Revolution itself increases your allies crit by a good whopping 6.2%, and then for every 10% that we have on Wonder is critical rate. Now it also increases your party's critical rate by 1% more, up to 4.2%, which will last for 3 whole turns. Now if you have this duped up or have your Wonder pretty much good and set, this skill will actually be doing 6.5% for crit for all allies, plus an additional 1.1% for every 10% that actually Wonder has on his crit rate. And this can go to a maximum of 4.4% instead of the 4.2%, which also lasts for 3 whole turns. It's an actually amazing critical rate buff here that you're going to utilize quite often. But the highlight also is really good as well. This highlight increases the party's damage by 25.4% at base, but when you actually get it fully up immediately, you're going to be doing a nice 29.5% for 2 whole turns, which is actually really amazing for this persona. So what better things can you do on this persona that makes it just that great? Well, as I did say, it's good for crit damage, crit rate, but it also can be a lovely buffer in general, just with attack damage as well. But I know a lot of you guys are thinking, what skills do we run on this one? Now you're gonna have a few that do come with this actual persona, such as like side boost itself, physical boost, accuracy. Some of these ones are going to be needed, but the only ones that you want to have on immediately here, if you're trying to at least keep up, is just going to be these top 2. The rest of these guys we're going to at least take off for now, because you really want to build at least Dionysus a specific way in order to utilize it perfectly. So first things first, let's start with the most important skills that you want to have on Dionysus immediately. Rule number 1, especially when it comes down to Dionysus, you want to go ahead and go to the buffs here and get out Rebellion. If you can go ahead and use Rebellion on him, this is going to be the best thing to go ahead and do. And actually you can kind of knock out 2 with 1 stone, seeing Dakini carries both Agility Master, aka another skill that you really want to have here, and Rebellion itself. Now Rebellion itself increases your allies crit rate by a whopping 8.8%, And then for every 10% that Wonder has in his critical rate stat, it increases the target's crit rate by 1.5% more, up to a whopping amount of 6.1%. This is also another skill that lasts for 3 whole turns, so it's really helpful as well. But it isn't the just a whole maximum amount that this can be. Rebellion, once of course you have Wonder's absolute passives up here, can go to a whopping 9.3% plus 1.6% of crits for every 10% crit rate Wonder has. And then instead of going for an up of 6.1% in total, it can go on up for 6.4% for that 3-turn value. Meaning you're going to get a lot more crit rate out of this, and once you pair it with its actual passive, the crit damage and crit rate are going to meld together like bread and butter. It's one of the few things that you really want to have, and it's incredibly useful. I want to say this is probably the most busted skill that you can have on Dionysus, so it's very influential that you definitely have this on the persona itself. But another skill that you want to go ahead and have, and luckily it's an early base skill here, is going to be Terukaja. Terukaja is another good skill that you can end up using here, and the main reason for it is because not only is it just incredibly good, but you can get it early. In fact, the Kodama seals, which you can very well farm pretty easily, if you go ahead and click this right here, you can see that you can get them guaranteed up to 3 or 4 of them just to get this one skill. Or if you've been summoning a lot, you might already have a couple of these seals just laying around, and you can get it from there as well. But the Kodama seal ends up giving out Terukaja, which is an attack type buff. At base here, it gives you a decent bit of attack, being 14.7% for every 500 of Wonder's attack itself, and it increases the target's attack by 1.2% more, up to 9.9%, and lasts a 3-turn basis. Though, if you do get Wonder's actual stats all the way up, it can be a whopping 15.5% plus 1.3% for every 500 attack that you have on Wonder, up to a whopping 10.4% for 3 whole turns. Actually insane for at least the amount of offensive buffs that you're going to have on this guy, so it's definitely going to be one of the few things that you want to go ahead and get a good look at. So immediately, if we're going over our main active skills, the first one that you want to get is Rebellion, the second one you want to get is Terukaja. Then we can only have 2 active skills on this persona. What else would we end up utilizing on Dionysus itself? 2 of our slots are filled, but we have 4 extra slots that we can go ahead and use. Well, don't worry, there are a couple passives that you definitely want to have on this persona, seeing that it truly does do a little bit of everything. One of the few passives, as I was saying earlier, is going to be tied to Dakini. Any of this here, if we go ahead and click back Rebellion immediately and we look at Dakini, as I did say before, Agility Master is another one that's really good. The only downside about this is it does take down your defense by 8%. The other Agility Masters, if we go ahead and look at those as well, do take down your defense, except for the first Agility Master, which of course, you know, that one doesn't take down your percentage at all. It actually increases your 6%, or at least your speed, by 6, which is still nice. But if you go up, the further you go into this Agility Master mode here, you do take your defense down by a decent bit while increasing your speed. It's very important to have this speed up, seeing that you want to make sure you're getting off your buffs as much as possible to speed tune your team properly with your buffers, debuffers, and then eventually make sure your DPS, who's going to be in the 4th slot, making them deal the most damage they can deal. This is a very important skill, so getting this early is going to be very nice to do so. Now the next skill that you guys really want to pay attention to is going to be Life Boost. Remember, as I said, since we're going ahead and actually using a little bit of our defense and taking that down here, we want to have Life Boost to repair this as well. So it's not going to be healing boost that you're looking for, but HP boost itself. HP boost itself does boost up, of course, your regular old just HP. Seeing that we're taking our defense down, we do need to make sure we're a little bit tanky. So HP boost 1 is giving you 5% extra HP, or 5.1% extra HP here, which is already good. If you decided to go for further ones, being like HP boost 3 itself, which is the highest I would recommend anyone going here, at this point in time, you're getting yourself a whopping amount of 7.8%, and actually this is healing boost, my bad. You're getting yourself a whopping amount of 10.8% HP, which is really good if you're trying to get Wonder to live. Because remember, we did take down his defense, so at all costs we need to make sure he's able to sustain himself. So definitely try to get HP boost on this persona. Then we have, of course, 2 more slots left. One of the slots that I can immediately recommend to you guys is going to be resist damage, or at least inside of here, it's called a little bit something different. So if a lot of you guys here, instead of having this resistant boost, which I think is a lot of ones that you guys are going to think I'm talking about here, but there's one specifically that is meant for at least what's it called, defensive capabilities, which I have to remember where exactly it went, because I know we were looking at it recently. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is, reduction boost. Reduction boost is the one that you also want to go ahead and go for, and his main reason for this is because it does decrease the damage taken. Seeing that, of course, we took down our defense, we have to make sure we're chunky. So having the HP boost, aka life boost, having resist damage, which is reduction boost, so both of these will make sure you take no damage whatsoever, allowing Wonder to sit there and be the best defender he can be. Of course, if you wanted to get this reduction boost at level 3 here, you will need to get Hecatone Kairos, seeing that this one itself does have a decent bit of different passes on him. You will need to try and sift through the rubble to see if you can get it. For example, we only got protection boost here, so unfortunately we couldn't get it, but you very well can try to get so as well from Ganesha Seal as well. So try to create all your personas first. But as I did say there, those are going to be the main ones. As for your fourth stat, you can kind of do whatever you want, because we only went through 4 or at least 3 passes themselves, so we still have 1 slot. On the off chance that you do want a little bit more defensive capabilities, you could very well go for a defense boost, which is always nice as well, being defense master, though this is more or less going to be something that's kind of there. I wouldn't fully at least expect to utilize it too much here, because defense master isn't just the best on my type of radar here. You could very well go for it, but I just don't see it too necessary. Any type of at least skill that will help you at least resist anything that you want to do. You can even utilize resist boost if you truly do need something, just to make sure he doesn't get controlled with mental elements itself. That can be something useful. Just make sure it's something that's tanky for the man Dionysus itself and keeping Wonder safe. So as I did say, once again, the 2 main active skills that we were looking for is Rebellion and Terukaja, and the 3 passive skills that you really want to go for is going to end up being Life Boost itself, or HP Boost, Agility Master, and then of course our Resistance Damage Boost, which is one of the ones that we ended up going for. Try to get all of those and you're going to be in good shape. But now, how do we utilize this persona? How does it work? Exactly what do we do? Well, we're going to do a little bit of a mock little showcase to show you guys exactly how this does go here. And the main thing I want to say, you could either start off with Dionysus being the first persona, or you can start off Dionysus being your second persona. It honestly comes down to whatever your rotation wants to be here, so surely do keep that in mind. But for us, we're going to go ahead and just fight Dionysus and show you guys exactly how this does work here. So for me, I do want to make sure that our Wonder is going first here, or at least our Wonder is fast enough to be ahead of our actual DPS, because if we're not ahead, it can ruin our actual whole setup here and make sure our buffs are out of order. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and bring Ame to make sure we're faster, Dionysus, and then I think the next one that I could possibly go ahead and do here is most likely going to be let's see, you know, we can kind of use anyone here, but I guess we're going to go ahead and use Jikokutin here, mainly because we need that attack boost. So if we go ahead and use this immediately and chime into his here, we're going to have to act like we already have our Rebellion ready. So first things first, we're trying to buff up our DPS as much as possible. So let's just go ahead and make sure we get our buffs on here. And then when it comes to our Wonder's turn, I can show you guys exactly how we're going to do this. The more buffs, the better. So let's just do this way. And so we have our buffs kind of set up. So Dionysus itself, remember, if we go ahead and utilize it, we're immediately going to be using its actual passive. Now the passive is triggered every time we end up utilizing this persona here. So in the first round, once we do use our first skill, which is the first one you want to go ahead and use, it's Revolution here. Once we utilize this skill, we're not only going to get the Revolution buff, but we're going to get the actual passive buff of the actual persona. So go ahead and get a good look at it and see exactly what we're talking about. As you can see, we have our Revolution bonus, and we also end up having our lovely attack bonus. But alongside of this here, remember, our Dionysus is not fully done just yet, so we are getting its actual passive buff immediately here, which is going to be a little bit of a sad point. So let's say if we don't have Drunken Revelry all the way up here, we're mainly only getting a lovely 14.8% crit rate, which is something that's just going to be here. But don't worry, it's not going to be anything too bad for you guys to have. This is always going to refresh, especially when it comes down to the next side. So we already have that buff. What more do we really need to know about? Don't worry here, let's go ahead and swap on over. As you see, we have our 22% crit damage buff here. And this round is mainly just a setup. So we're going to go ahead and use our skill 3. And the next round is where we're really going to start actually getting some things in order. So as I did say beforehand, we already have a buff on us. but it's not the buff that's fully in prepared here. So at this point in time, what we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to buffer up again, and seeing we don't have A1, we're not going to have our mask this turn. We're going to have our mask the next turn. So this is still not our damage turn. We have to make sure it's in a 3-turn rotation. So on this turn here, instead, what we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to use Jikokutin here, which gives us attack buff with its actual passive. You guys don't know exactly what this does here. The passive that we end up getting from Jikokutin is very, very strong here, and it will surely keep you doing a ton of damage when it needs to happen. In fact, it helps you out with the actual increased defense that you do need. And whenever you are increasing your main target, aka the one we're buffing here, we're getting a lovely 13.5% actual attack buff when we have it fully upgraded. So our first thing to do is we're going to use Terakaja. Terakaja is now going to be on at least our Makoto here. And as you can see immediately, we have not only just the Terakaja buff, but we end up having our attack buffs as well that Jikokutin ended up giving us. So now in this round, is it our damage round just yet? Not quite. In fact, we want to go ahead and just continue doing what we were doing beforehand. Use our skill 3, and the next round after is going to be our legitimate damage buff round. Reason being is because it is a 3-turn round. We've already set up our Revolution. We've now set up our Terakaja. Technically, if we had Rebellion this round, this is where you really want to pay attention. But for us, we're going to go ahead, use our Justice Barrier, make sure we have our buffs back on up here. Everything is looking pretty much good. We have our current, what's it called, crit damage buff from Leon. We have everything looking good for our attack buffs from, of course, our Owl. And we already have our buffs from regular Wonder himself. Well, we're all out of our lovely Dionysus's actual passive. Well, once we swap back and use Revolution again, we'll have our passive back, which allows us to, of course, get that nice crit damage that we're looking for. So now we have not only the Terakaja buff, we have Revolution buff, our attack buff, of course, from just anything that we've been doing. And we recently got our crit damage buff, which is the 22% once again that Dionysus ends up offering us. So we're now in our damage round. What we're going to go ahead and do is pop our mask off. Since we're in our mask area, we can then start going ahead and using our ultimate, dealing the most damage that we really want to go ahead and deal with, at least our Makoto herself here. And then let's go ahead and follow up with our skill 3, which is going to deal some nice damage, of course, if we ended up critting. But you guys kind of get the gist. We do need to have Rebellion on Dionysus, which is a huge deal into this actual 3-turn setup here. So you surely do want to get that whole persona made up. But that's all I have to go over, especially when it leads to the man Dionysus itself here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please do smash that like button beforehand and consider subscribing if you are new. We're going to do more videos like this, of course, showing all the setups of each of these personas. So you guys' feedback would be absolutely lovely. But thank you guys for watching, and peace out.